Use laziness to your advantage. The 20-second rule. Ever find yourself avoiding a task you know you should be doing but can't get started? What if I told you that laziness could actually be the key to getting more done? By using something called the 20-second rule, you can turn procrastination into productivity. In this video, I'll show you how small changes in your environment can make good habits easier to start and bad ones harder to continue, making laziness work for you instead of against you. Stick around because this trick could completely change the way you approach your goals. The problem with traditional productivity. We have all heard it: hustle harder, push through the pain, no excuses. It's the productivity mindset that's been drilled into us for years. But here's the problem: not everyone's built to operate at 100 miles per hour at the time. Traditional productivity methods glorify constant motion, but the reality is that trying to force yourself into a rigid routine can lead to burnout, frustration, and let's face it, even more laziness. You try to stick to a strict schedule, but when you hit a wall, it feels like the world's biggest obstacle. The truth is, we all have days when motivation just doesn't show up. So what do you do then? Should you guilt trip yourself into action, or is there a smarter way to make progress without running on empty? That's where the 20-second rule comes in. Instead of following the go hard or go home mentality, you start by acknowledging that it's okay to be human. You don't need to push yourself constantly. You need to make starting easier and more inviting. This isn't about grinding through exhaustion. It's about working with your natural tendencies, not against them. And that's what makes the rule such a game changer. What is the 20-second rule? Imagine this. You have got a goal, something you really want to do. But every time you think about it getting done or getting started, you feel that resistance. You are tired, distracted, or maybe just plain lazy. The 20-second rules flip the struggle on its head by making things simpler. In essence, it's a strategy to reduce the friction between you and your goals. The rule works like this: if you make the things you want to do easier to start and things you don't want to do harder, you're more likely to follow through. So let's break it down with an example. You want to start working out but struggle to get to the gym. Instead of focusing on the gym itself, you focus on the starting point. Put your gym clothes right by the door, so when you wake up, it's a no-brainer. By reducing the first 20 seconds of hesitation, you're far more likely to go. On the flip side, if you want to stop scrolling endlessly on your phone, you could put it in another room or remove the apps from your home screen, making it harder to access. This simple shift in approach not only removes the mental block but also makes consistency easier. The 20-second rule works because it's about taking that tiny step, removing that tiny barrier, and suddenly you are in the motion. The science behind the 20-second rule. The 20-second rule isn't just a catchy hack, it's grounded in science. Our brains are wired to avoid effort and discomfort, a concept known as cognitive ease. In simple terms, we naturally gravitate towards things that requires less mental energy. So when faced with a task, if there is even a slight barrier, our brain will quickly dismiss it as too hard and look for something easier. This is where the 20-second rule comes into play. By reducing the initial friction, the first 20 seconds of hesitation, you're hacking this natural instinct. Research shows that habits are formed by repeating actions in specific contexts. When you make something easier to start, like leaving your workout gear out in the open, you're removing that first roadblock. This means your brain associates the activity with minimal effort, making it more likely that you'll continue. The rule also taps into the power of environmental cues. The things around you trigger automatic behaviors. By making those cues work for you, you reduce the mental load of decision-making and allow the habits to form without fighting against your natural impulses. It's all about turning laziness into a productivity tool, applying the 20-second rule to daily habits. Now that we know that science behind it, let's talk about how to apply the 20-second rule to your daily habits. The idea is simple: make the things you want to do easier to start and the things you don't want to do harder. Let's take a few everyday examples. First, let's say you want to read more but struggle to find the time. Instead of making a reading goal that feels like a big task, reduce the effort. Place a book right by your bed or on the couch. When it's in the line of sight, it's easy to just pick it up and start reading, even if it's just for 5 minutes. The key is that the first 20 seconds of hesitation are wiped out. If you want to stop wasting time on your phone, remove the apps from your home screen, put your phone out of reach, or even turn it off. You have made it harder to access the distractions, which automatically lowers your chances of mindlessly scrolling. The beauty of the 20-second rule is that you can apply it to almost anything: getting more sleep, eating healthier, or exercising. By making your environment work for you and removing those small obstacles, you set yourself up for success without even realizing it. Over time, the small wins will add up to the big results. How laziness can be a superpower. Laziness often gets a bad rap, isn't it? We are constantly told to push ourselves harder, do more, and keep grinding. But what if I told you that laziness could actually be your secret weapon? The truth is, laziness isn't about avoiding work, it's about avoiding unnecessary effort. Our brains are naturally wired to conserve energy and avoid tasks that seem too difficult or draining. So, rather than fighting this impulse, why not use it to your advantage? This is where the 20-second rule becomes a game changer. When you reduce the friction for starting a task, like leaving your workout clothes out or having your gym bag packed and ready to go, you're making it easier to get started, which is often the hardest part. By using laziness as a tool to minimize effort, you're tricking your brain into thinking that the task is less intimidating. And once you're in motion, momentum kicks in and suddenly you are tackling tasks you never thought you could do. Laziness can be a superpower if you learn how to direct it. The key is not to fight it, but to use it to create systems and environments that make your goals feel effortless. When laziness works for you, you'll be surprised at how much you can achieve without burning out. Why you're already using the 20-second rule without realizing it. You might be surprised to learn that you're probably already using the 20-second rule without even realizing it. Think about your morning routine. When you wake up and the first thing you do is grab your phone. That's the 20-second rule in action. By making your phone one of the first things you see, you have made it easy to start scrolling even before you have had your coffee. Now let's flip it. Have you ever noticed that when you leave your gym shoes by the door, you're more likely to work out? Or when your healthy snacks are already prepped and inside, you're more likely to choose them over junk food? That's the 20-second rule doing its thing. You have made the decision to start an activity as simple as possible, so your brain has less friction to overcome. The beauty of the 20-second rule is that it works both ways. You're not only making productive habits easier to begin, but also making bad habits harder to start. If you have ever hidden your TV remote or moved your phone out of reach to avoid distractions, you have used the same principle. It's all about setting up your environment to work for you, reducing the mental load and making progress feel effortless. Overcoming the resistance to change. Change is hard, no one's denying that. Whether it's breaking an old habit or starting something new, we all face that initial resistance. It's the voice in your head saying, "I don't feel like it," or "this is going to be difficult." But here's the thing, resistance is normal. It's your brain's way of protecting you from the discomfort of stepping outside your comfort zone. The good news, the 20-second rule is an incredibly effective way to overcome this resistance. Instead of forcing yourself into action and with willpower alone, the key is to make it easier to begin. When you reduce the effort it takes to start a task, you're bypassing that mental block. For example, if you're trying to eat healthier, prepare your meals in advance so that healthy options are always within our reach. When the decision to eat a salad takes less time than grabbing junk food, you've already won. The 20-second rule helps you win the battle against inertia by removing the friction, lowering the barriers to entry for new behaviors. So when you feel that resistance, don't fight it. Use the rule to set up your environment in a way that makes starting easier. Once you begin, that resistance often fades away and you're well on your way to lasting change. The long-term benefits of using the 20-second rule. The beauty of the 20-second rule is that it doesn't just help you get things done in the short term, it sets you up for long-term success. Small changes in your environment may seem insignificant at first, but over time they compound into big results. The key is that 20-second rule helps build momentum. The more you use it, the easier it becomes to take constant and consistent action and build lasting habits. Let's say you want to develop a reading habit. You start by placing a book on your pillow so that when you get into bed, it's right in front of you. At first, you might only read a few pages, but that small action creates a routine. Over weeks and months, those few pages add up, and suddenly you have made reading a part of your daily routine. So, there you have it. The 20-second rule in all its glory. By making those first 20 seconds easier, you're unlocking the power to build habits effortlessly and beat resistance every time. It's not about pushing harder, it's about making the right things easier. Start small and watch those little changes snowball into massive results. If you found this video useful, hit that like button, subscribe for more life hacks, and drop a comment sharing how you're using the 20-second rule in your life. Until next time, keep making things happen with less effort.